Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. This is Rocket Ship IAS Lab and continuing with our series on answer writing for general studies papers of civil service main examination. We take up a question that you might come across in GS paper 2. Here goes the question. What in your opinion are reasons why SAARC, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, has not been as successful promoting regional integration as other regional groupings have? So this is a straightforward question where you have to talk about the reasons why SAARC has not been as successful as the other regional groupings. For example, EU or for that matter ASEAN have been in enabling regional integration to a great degree. We are introducing our answer with a piece of statistics that would actually, you could say, strengthen your point that SAARC has been unsuccessful, you could say, promoting regional integration to a, you could say, a substantial degree. That is, by various estimates, the intra-regional trade among members of ASEAN is 25% of their total international trade volume. This is just 5% for SAARC. So again, the point is, as you can see itself right here, that SAARC has been much less successful promoting regional economic integration, which can be seen in the low volume of intra-regional trade that is seen in SAARC compared to regional groupings like ASEAN. Then the last SAARC summit was held as far back as 2014 at Kathmandu. Since then, the state of relations among SAARC nations has been so fractious that for more than a decade, they have not agreed to even come on one state. So the point is that if you haven't even managed to come together on, you could say, on the same stage for a decade or even more, the message that it would send that there is not, you could say, good relation among the members of this regional grouping, that is SAARC. This is a suitable observation of SAARC's failure as a regional grouping. Meanwhile, groupings like ASEAN and EU, that is European Union, have made much progress in economic integration and regional cooperation on shared concerns. That is, these groupings, that is ASEAN, European Union, etc., have always taken up issues that have been of common concern for almost all of their members. So what are the reasons that SAARC has become moribund, that SAARC has almost it is almost dead? What are the reasons? First is political bickering among its members that makes consensus impossible. You can understand very well that the state of, you could say, relations between some members of SAARC, for example between India and Pakistan, or for that matter between Bangladesh and Myanmar, it is not of such a good level that there would be, you could say, political consensus on any issue due to, you could say, political bickering among its members. Then there is lack of physical infrastructure, for example road and rail network. As the road and rail network is not well developed, moreover it is not interoperable, that would ultimately lead to, you could say, a less integrated, you could say, trade and commerce. There are some security concerns, of which examples be terrorism, narcotics, smuggling, etc. Due to these security concerns, the member nations are not ready to, you could say, allow unrestricted movement of persons and goods among the members. There are some anti-minority sentiments, an example being against Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan and against Hindus and Buddhists in Bangladesh and against the Rohingyas in Myanmar. And due to these anti-minority sentiments, the entire atmosphere, the entire political climate of SAARC is vitiated, that it is poisoned. And then comes the perennial dilemma, that is Pakistan's obstructive role. What actually has happened, what it has been observed, that Pakistan is ready to even suffer self-harm, again, you could say, sorry, Pakistan is ready to suffer quite some self-harm if it means that it would harm India's interest in turn. So that has been Pakistan's policies, and it has put hurdle. For an example, in the regional trade, for an example, the trade between India and Afghanistan. So Pakistan's obstructive role has been one of the reasons that SAARC has not been as successful promoting regional integration. Elaborating on these points, the state of relation among SAARC's members mean they are not ready to see eye to eye on many issues. India and Pakistan are locked into endless bickering. That is, there has been endless conflict between India and Pakistan, seemingly endless conflict. Sorry, my bad cough is not going actually. Sorry. Bangladesh and Myanmar too have many unresolved issues, including territorial disputes and the Rohingya issue that has actually poisoned the relation between Bangladesh and Myanmar. The physical infrastructure across the region remains underdeveloped. Road network with checkposts and non-interoperable tolling is not designed for unobstructed movement. For rail network, now it is a technical point. For rail network, the countries follow varied standards. For an example, Myanmar has meter gauge, that is 1000 millimeter broad railway lines, compared to India, which has 1676 meter broad gauge. This means that, for an example, a freight train that is coming from Myanmar cannot go up to the, you could say, Delhi, because it cannot operate on Indian line. Bhutan is not yet connected to rail network, while Nepal has inadequate rail network. Due to these deficits in physical infrastructure, there is not much economic and you could say trade and commerce possible among these nations across the border. There are lingering issues of security. Countries like, as is well known, Pakistan are known to provide safe refuge, safe haven to terrorists and use terrorism as a tool to promote their national interest. It is actually well recognized that Pakistan uses terrorists and terrorism as a tool of foreign policy. This has meant that other nations cannot trust Pakistan, and in fact they look at Pakistan suspiciously. Then there are other security concerns like smuggling of narcotics and other contrabands. These security issues give rise to deficit of trust, that is trust deficit among the members, making unrestricted movement of people and goods difficult to sell. Again, the point is you might include these examples. For an example, Afghanistan is the largest producer of opium in the world. Moreover, Myanmar is considered a part of the golden triangle of the narcotics trade. We would repeat it. Myanmar is considered a part of the golden triangle of narcotics trade across the world. Moreover, Afghanistan is the largest source of opium, the largest producer of opium across the world. Due to these factors, there is always some concern of narcotics smuggling, etc. Due to these issues, that is, you could say, suspicion about terrorism, movement of terrorists, or for that matter, the movement of narcotics and other contrabands, these countries, that is SAARC nations, they cannot be you could say considered to allow free movement of people and goods across the border. Persecution of minorities like Sikhs and Hindus in Pakistan, Hindus and Buddhists in Bangladesh, and Rohingyas who are mostly Muslim in Myanmar, it creates ill will and suspicion across the border. So again, the point is, if, for an example, if Hindus and Sikhs are persecuted in Pakistan, there is slim chance that it would result in goodwill for Pakistan in Hindu and Sikh majority India. Similar cases can be, you could say, applied across the region, across SAARC region. So due to persecution of minorities, it always gives rise to ill will and suspicion. Pakistan has, as we were talking about, it has taken an obstructive position. Its role has to be called out actually. It has placed hurdles to Afghanistan's trade with other members, specifically with India and onward to other members. This is while regional trade would have ameliorated Pakistan's precarious finances. If space and time permits, you can mention some other examples. For example, the Tapi gas pipeline. Tapi gas pipeline, it was meant to bring gas from Tajikistan and passing through Afghanistan and Pakistan, it was meant to come to India. And you can understand very, very well that all these four countries, of which three are members of SAARC, would have benefited from the Tapi pipeline. That is, Tajikistan would have been able to export gas directly to the large market of India, and Afghanistan and Pakistan would have got transit fees that would have actually burnished their finances, that would have actually strengthened their finances. But Pakistan, due to its typical, you could say, a role of an obstructive power, and again it's, you could say, again it's neurosis of India, it has put quite some hurdles into the path of Tapi, and Tapi is, again, it has not been realized. The Tapi pipeline project has not been realized due mainly to, you could say, problems with Pakistan. To sum up, considering the economic opportunity presented by the large population base of SAARC, again the point is SAARC is probably the most populous regional grouping on the earth. The members must allay security concerns, honor commitments to protect minorities, and look at things from an enlightened self-interest perspective. That is, if a project were to benefit them along with their neighbors, they should actually go for that kind of project. So these are some of the things that the SAARC nations can do to ultimately ensure that SAARC would lead to greater economic and political integration across the region, as the other regional groupings have led to. This was all on SAARC's failure and failure to lead to greater economic and political integration across the region. We would reassemble for the next lecture in a few days. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.